Hey, thanks for stopping by. This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And I have in my possession the new Eton Grundig Executive Satellite Shortwave Radio, AM, FM, shortwave, longwave, and airband. Now, I did an extensive review of the predecessor to this, which is the Eton Satellite. And if you go back to my shows around 445, 446, 7, 8, 9, right around there, I actually have a playlist of all of them. There's about 8 of them. I did an extensive review of the predecessor to this. And, let me turn the volume down here. And the testing I've been doing past couple of days, I got this a couple of days ago. It was sent to me for a review. It's basically the same radio. There are some differences that I've found. There may be some other subtle differences that they've tweaked. I'm thinking no. And the reason I'm thinking no is last week I did a review of the other new radio from Eton. They have 3 new radios which are basically existing radios with upgrades. One is the Traveler 3, which is called now the Executive Traveler. One is this one, the Satellite, which is now called the Executive Satellite. And then there's another one, I don't remember which one it is. There's one other one that they added Bluetooth to. So I've been debating what to do as far as a review on this radio, because I looked at my previous review of its predecessor, and I did about 3 or 4 hours of review on that radio. And this one, all I can tell, is about the same. It does have a few minor obvious changes that I'm going to tell you about. And so I'm just going to talk about the differences first, my conclusion on this radio, and then maybe play around with it, maybe do another show with I do some reception. I do not have the predecessor. I typically keep radios that I've gotten for review so that I can go back to them if I need to, and this would have been ideal. But that radio, now that I look, I thought I had lost it and I thought I had given it away, but it turns out when I reviewed my shows on the predecessor, the last show I did, or next to the last show I did, the radio crashed. The little microprocessor, microcontroller crashed, and the screen went bananas. And it took me several minutes of pushing reset, removing power, and all kinds of things to get the screen to come back. And that happened not in that show, but a couple of times after that. So I returned it. That particular one, I believe I purchased. I'm not positive. It may have been purchased for me. I don't remember. So I didn't keep it. It was this model is an expensive radio. This is nearly $200 retail. $200. Yes, $200. I really don't think it's worth it. Besides the crash problem, there were several things I did not like about this radio. And the predecessor and this radio has many of those same problems, or at least it appears to have many of the same problems. Testing's not over. Okay, let me get this box out of the way, set this down, and do a zoom. So that's what I decided to do. Instead of spending another couple hours doing reviews of features and stuff like that, you can just go back to that set of shows about the Eton Satellite, which is black. This one is silver. Again, if you look at the ads, just like the Traveler 3, the new Traveler 3, this appears to be, and even in my video, it appears to be like an ivory or a goldish. It's not. It's the yucky silver. I hate this yucky silver. I'm sorry. Not that it detracts from the performance of the radio. It just does not look like a $200 radio or $150 radio even. You could get it on sale or something. Okay, so let's go over the differences. One obvious difference between this one and its predecessor, the look and feel is the same. The buttons and the button layouts, the knobs and the options on the side, they're the same. I can't find any difference. The one big difference, obvious difference, is it comes with this case. And I guess I'll have to zoom out so I can show you the case. Kind of overdid my zoom there. So there's the case. It folds down like that. Almost identical, but size is different, of course, to the new Traveler 3. Now, I did find out from one of my viewers of how to move this antenna around so that you can listen to the radio and have the antenna be vertical. You route it around the corners, what you do. See if I can show that. Yeah, I've kind of got it around the corner, and that's why they made this double joint here, so that you could do that. Of course, as someone else pointed out, if you have the cover closed, it's going to cover up the speaker, so it's going to muffle it. Also, I saw the pictures ads of this, and they fold it back like this, so that it's on an angle, which is great for viewing. I was complaining about the Traveler 3 not being able to get to the little kickstand with the cover on. Well, this kind of works too. It's about the same angle as a kickstand. It can slide off, but it's pretty secure. So it does work. Now let me lay it down so you can see the display a little bit. There we go. There it is. This and its predecessor have an excellent display. Very easy to read. Lots of information on display, and like I say, I go in to all these displays and everything in the review of its predecessor. Okay, getting back to differences between this one and its predecessor. The case is different, of course. The case is really nice leather. It's a nice, classic looking case. The antenna is a little different, giving you that double joint so you can wrap the antenna around and get it vertical when the radio is laying down flat. Okay. Next, and I missed it already, is the color. The predecessor was black, and it looked classy. The black with white lettering really looked nice. It didn't look like cheap plastic. This one, I believe it only comes in silver, and this is my personal excuse me, hang up. I don't like this silver plastic. It just looks cheap. Sorry. Next thing is lettering. The predecessor was all black case with white lettering. Even though the lettering is very small, I was able to read it with my poor eyes. Didn't have any problem. This one, silver with not really jet black, but kind of a faded black lettering. Extremely hard for me to read. I can read the numbers, I can read the function keys, but some of these buttons over here and over here that have a number of letters, they've squinched the font down so small it's hard to read. I actually have to use in some cases, a magnifying glass to read it. Let me see if I can zoom in so I give you I'm zoomed in. So, and I'm not on autofocus, so I can't bring it closer to the camera, it'll just be out of focus. But some of the lettering down, like down here, is just tiny, tiny, tiny. Now, you will, if you use this a lot over time, remember what key is what, and you don't even have to read it. So you can overcome that. Another thing is, the lettering on this button, and I wish I could zoom in more, is the lettering is skewed. It's not straight on the key. Oh, that's poor manufacturing there, poor quality control. Doesn't affect the performance, but it just doesn't look nice. Okay, lettering. The other thing, which I am happy about, is if you go back to my other videos, you will see that I struggled with using the external antenna jack over here. See if I can swing this over. Oh boy, I'm hitting all kinds of things. Crash, bang. Okay. So there it is right there. Is the external jack. That is a, I believe it's either a 1/8 inch or a 3.5 millimeter jack. External jack. The way it works is when you plug in a plug in that external jack, it disconnects this antenna and I think a preamplifier. The problem I had with this predecessor is when I used a mono jack, and I've got it right here, when I used this guy, this is my adapter to my adapter to my adapter. In this case, I got 3 adapters here to get to this size plug. When I used the mono on the previous radio, previous version of this, and I plugged it all the way in, there was like it stopped like 2 or 3 times going in. It basically shorted out the antenna and you received nothing. Subsequently, I found out that it needs a stereo, which I don't have a stereo adapter to this guy. I don't have one. And if I kept the radio, I would have got one eventually. Later, I found out by Jay Allen's, who does very extensive reviews of shortwave radios. You need to go to his website. That's Jay Allen. He tears down radios, brand new radio, brand new radios, and he found out, as I recall, that it really wants a 4-band plug, which I have one of those for my camera, for my video camera, that gives me video out, 2 stereo channels, and audio out, I think. Anyway. So that's what the radio really wanted, but you could use a stereo plug and it would work. But if you use this mono and if you put it in kind of halfway and it's kind of loose, it would work. But if you pushed it all the way in, which is what you wanted to do, it wouldn't work. Well, this radio, I don't know what they did, but I tried it last night. I plugged this in all the way and it works. So yay for them. Yay for Eton fixing that problem. I'm not sure what they did, but I can show you. Let me go to 10 megahertz. Let's stop this. Let's go to 10 megahertz WWV. And we won't hook up the antenna first. Turn the volume up. And you can slightly hear it. And then if I touch the antenna, it gets a little better. To me, that says the antenna is, the built-in telescopic antenna is begging to be longer. And by using the capacitance of my finger, that gives us the effect of being longer. That's my understanding. So now, I'll let you listen to it, and I'll shut up for a second. WWV is in there really weak. Now I'm going to plug in this external antenna. This is my MSJ 31-foot vertical antenna. Bingo. I've got it all the way in, which is what I wanted on the previous radio, which most radios will accept a mono plug for that external antenna. The predecessor of this one would not if you plugged it all the way in like you should. So, thank you, Eton, for fixing that problem. Maybe you did it by accident. Okay, I'm just going to leave that in there. That's about all that I can find that is different. So it's receiving really well. I did do a reception scan last night upstairs in my office. I used my G5RV, which is my best antenna. One reason it's my best shortwave antenna is that it's the highest one in the air I've got. And it's the longest. It's 102 feet total. The next best one I've got is this one I'm using right now, which is the MFJ 31 foot vertical antenna. Last night when I let this thing scan, it found a lot of stations, a lot of shortwave stations, even though band conditions right now are not that good. So it is a sensitive radio. So as far as being a shortwave radio, sensitivity is excellent. I give it an A for reception based on that test and based on what's happening this morning. So still a good radio, but it has a lot of things I personally think are defects, especially in a radio this expensive. Okay, I'm just going to unplug this so I don't break anything there. And I'll go back over some that I mentioned already, and I'll go over some of the ones I haven't mentioned, but I did mention in its predecessor. Okay, as I mentioned, I don't like the gray plastic. Not a big deal. It's pure aesthetics. I don't like the black, or it's not really black, it's almost like a flat black. It just doesn't pop out against the gray background. To me, some of these keys are like impossible to read. The other thing is, this radio and its predecessor, and it doesn't appear to be any better, maybe a little worse, is it has the dreaded muting while tuning, or people call it soft muting. And let me just demonstrate that real quick. It almost goes, and I'm not turning it very fast, it almost goes completely dead on the audio. So if you want to fast scan through the bands, it's not going to work very good. Maybe it's a little better on this version. Maybe they've tweaked the firmware so it's not quite as bad. I think it's a function of using a DSP front-end processor. I think it just comes with that design, that muting while tuning. I have several other radios that do that. I still have my old Radio Shack DX394, which there is a mod to turn it off, and I haven't done that mod to see if it makes things worse by turning that muting off. So that's one thing I don't like about this radio. The other thing, and let me turn the volume down. The other thing I don't like about this radio, again, because of the price, is it does have the ATS function, automatic tuning and storage. That function does not work in shortwave. It does not work in shortwave. The $50 to $60 Eton, Texan PL 310 ET does have that function, and it's true search and store. This one in the shortwave band. Now in the FM band, it works the way you think it would. It scans the FM band, and when it finds a strong signal, it stores it in memory for you. It then goes on. And then when it's done, it stops. When it's done, it stops. Yeah, that makes sense. This one and its predecessor does not do that in the shortwave. In shortwave band, all it's doing is scanning. And you have, I think, 3 options for that function. You can have it scan until it finds a strong signal and stop, not proceed. You can have it scan and stop for 5 seconds and then proceed. And then the other one is to turn off ATS. I'm not sure why you would turn that off, but anyway, turn off ATS. So it's not a true, what I consider an ATS function. So although it will search for you, that's about all it does, is search. So I'm really disappointed about that. So my conclusion at this point is everything that I've looked at and tested on this executive satellite, Eton executive satellite, is the same as its predecessor, with the exceptions of things that I've mentioned, which are, except for the external antenna jack, appear to just be cosmetic. To me, the radio is way overpriced. It does, the one outstanding point is it does have good reception. So that's where I'm at. I don't know if I'll do any more shows on this because I'm very disappointed. Now, other people have different opinions. That's fine. They may overlook the things that drive me nuts, like muting with tuning. It drives me nuts. I guess I have to start getting used to that because most of the newer radios, which have a digital signal processor, you're going to have that. You're going to have that trait. Again, I'm not going to go over any of the other functions. There's many functions. I went over all of them, or not all of them, but most of them in my review of the predecessor to this. They haven't changed. I haven't found any differences. So that's it. If you enjoyed the show, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, now's a good time. And when you subscribe, when you hit that subscribe button, next to the subscribe button is a little bell icon. If you click on that bell, it will bring up a little box and it will say, do you want to receive an email when a new video is posted on this channel? And you click on the box and you say okay. Then you get emails as soon as I post a new video. Oh, isn't that exciting? Okay. If you have any questions about this radio, or if you want me to do anything, like if you want me to do a reception test, I'll do it. But at this point, I think the reception is, I think it's very good, maybe excellent, and I just don't know. Maybe I'll do a reception test, maybe I won't. It depends. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.